we have on the line a good friend, a guy who I've known for 25 years, Bob Livingston, former congressman from the great state of Louisiana, and was in the leadership. He was one of the people who balanced the budget, by the way. He was the head of the Appropriations Committee back when the only time in my lifetime we balanced the budget is when Bob Livingston was running the budget in Congress. And so I'm always eternally grateful to him for that. But he had a story in the Wall Street Journal that I want everybody to read if you get the chance, because it sent a chill down my spine about the abuse of power in the abuse of the our justice system that is going on today. And Bob, first of all, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Steve. It's great to be with you.
So tell us the story, because I think we all are going to listen to your story and think, oh, there, but the grace of God goes me. But this could happen to anyone. But thank God we have a new president with a new attorney general. But tell us what happened to you, because I think people can relate to it. And it wasn't an abuse of power. But go ahead.
Steve, you are right on the money. It has happened to far too many people, and actually I was one of the lucky ones. We had been in business for 25 years. We'd been, excuse me, got some noise here. We had been in Congress for 22 years. As you said, I rose up and did fine in Congress. We started representing international clients in our lobbying operation. And we began very early, and if you're doing international clients, you've got to represent people under FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. So I represented those folks just fine up until 2022, and all of a sudden the world changed. I got a knock on my door. 2 FBI agents.
Wait, is this a knock on your door at home?
Yeah, no, they came to my home.
Yeah.
And they said, we'd like to talk to you. Well, I'd talked to FBI agents all my life. It's about background information on one thing or another,
Sure.
Other things they're investigating, even other people.
Right.
Well, they started talking to me, and I thought it was just another one of those times when all of a sudden, after 2.5 hours of chatting with them, they hand me a search warrant. And they want everything that I had to. We had every record, every person, every conceivable bit of information and phone records that we had.
Right.
And they wanted to seize them, and so we complied. I called the attorney and I said, "Well, what's this for?" I said, "Am I a target?" And they said, "Yeah, you're a target, and we're going to charge you and charge you with felonies." Holy mackerel! I mean, it was just like right out of the bowl. It was about a 2018 issue, and this was 2022.
My
so
God.
Anyway, for the next 20 minutes.
Now, by the way, just so people understand, this was the Biden Justice Department.
Absolutely, 2022, right in the middle of it.
Okay.
And we had known that they'd gone after a friend of ours, a guy named Jeff Fortenberry, ruined his life, and ended up with no case at all. And that's still hanging over him. He lost his seat in Congress, and he was devastated, paid attorney's fees.
Yeah,
and it was just extraordinary. Anyway,
by the way,
was this one person after another?
Bob? Sorry to interrupt. Was this the FBI?
There were 2 FBI agents,
right,
and the search warrant was signed by an assistant U.S. attorney.
Wow. Okay.
So I called the assistant U.S. attorney and said, "Yeah, you're the target, and we're going to indict you, and but we want your records because we have these ideas that you might have violated the law and not paid attention, done things right according to the Foreign Agents Registration Act." So we got a couple of lawyers, and fought it for 20 months. My lawyers did a fabulous job. They just they filed an 88-page brief. But in the meantime, these FBI agents, go around to my employees and the attorneys, the assistant U.S. attorneys and the assistant attorney generals were interrogating my folks,
Oh my God.
One woman they cursed out completely during the interview in front of my lawyers. I wasn't there, but she'd been with us for 20 years, perfectly nice, decent, law-abiding lady, and they're cursing at her, telling her she got to change her story.
Wow.
The other guy was a guy 50 years old, never been married, just a very decent guy, a brilliant man who'd worked on the Hill in Congress under Congressman Jerry Sullivan on the Rules Committee. The guy had been he was an expert in baseball. He was an expert in politics. He was an expert in everything. Right. But he'd never probably walked across the street in a red light. He'd never ran a stop sign.
Right.
Never done anything in his life. They confronted him, told him if he knew what was good for them, for him, that he'd talk to him. Then he lives in Manassas, Virginia. A guy calls him up and says, "Look, I just happen to be in the neighborhood, and I want to stop by and talk to you." Well, and with that, he contacts us. We get a lawyer. That was just before Christmas, and the day before New Year's Eve, he goes to bed and doesn't wake up the next day. He was scared to death. And
this is awful,
Steve. This kind of stuff goes on all the time, and I'm a former prosecutor. I prosecuted people for 6 years.
I know. But hold on. What were they just were they just on a fishing expedition, or did they actually have evidence against you?
They had no evidence, but it was a fishing expedition. But they thought they had enough of a case. I represent an international client, as we'd represented 28 international clients over the years, over 25 years. Never had a problem. We were religious in paying in filing our documents under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, and we filed constantly, but they said we didn't file correctly, and we were hiding this and that, and even accused us of money laundering for.
So it sounds to me like your crime was being a Republican.
Steve, you hit it right on the head. If you look at the list of people that this Attorney General has cornered, investigated, prosecuted, whatever. They not only investigate you, they try to file charges against you. It began with General Flynn right at the outset of the first Trump administration, and it just kept on. They put Peter Navarro, the highest-ranking advisor to a president in the history of the country. They don't arrest him or even have him come into the office, and he lived a couple of blocks from the FBI headquarters. No, they wait till he gets on the plane, and they send a SWAT team and drag him off the plane.
So the reason, by the way,
time and time
Bob,
again.
Yeah, the reason that your story that's in the Wall Street Journal, you can read this, folks. Just Google Wall Street Journal Robert Livingston, and you can see the article. It's very chilling, and it especially resonated with me because I also am guilty of being a Trump economist, and I'll tell you, Bob. I mean, when Biden was first elected president, because I saw friends that I worked with who went to jail, including, you mentioned Peter Navarro. And by the way, I had disagreements with Peter Navarro, but he was just giving an economic advice to the president. Well, they put him in jail. They put, as you know, Steve Bannon went to jail. He didn't commit any crimes. You look at, so many of the people who were, as you know, on January 6th, I do believe that people went into the Capitol need to be prosecuted, but there are many people who were arrested who were just exercising their First Amendment rights.
There were thousands of people there, and yes, there were maybe a handful of people were violent or misbehaved, and they should have been prosecuted.
Yes,
but all those, they've got tons of people. They not only arrested them, charged them, convicted them in the D.C. environment, but put some of them in solitary confinement.
I know people who were in solitary, and some of them were, did nothing, and they were in jail for 7 months in the D.C. jail system, which is not a pleasant place to be.
And the public defender wouldn't represent them. I mean, it was really a bad situation, all at the hands of this very weak and inadequate Attorney General.
Here's the thing.
It was a disaster.
Yes, and that's why your story was so important. I'm so glad that the Wall Street Journal ran it because, folks, the hypocrisy the hypocrisy of the Biden people and the left saying, "Oh, Trump is going to be autocrat and put his political enemies in jail." No, folks, the people who did that were the Biden people. They used the law enforcement activities of the government to go after their political enemies, which, by the way, Bob, is what happens in third world country. Banana republics
It's
do that.
tyranny,
That's not
Steve.
supposed to
It's
happen in
tyranny.
America.
And what did they say? They said nobody's above the law. But who was ever? Hillary Clinton never saw a day elected a charge of any sort.
Of course,
and
neither Hunter Biden
these,
either. Yeah,
Hunter. That was about to get to Hunter Biden. You're absolutely right. He has a zillion crimes. In fact, violations of FARA. He was taking in millions and millions of dollars from foreign agents. He not only didn't file under the FARA law,
I know,
but he didn't pay any taxes on them.
I know.
And
I mean, that's the hypocrisy.
And they tried to give him a sweetheart immunity deal. That was through the Justice Department. The judge threw that out. It was ridiculous. So then his dad pardons him.
So, Bob, we only have a few minutes left. So tell us the end of the story. At least the story has a happy ending. You did not go to jail. By the way, you must have
20
spent...
months went by. Actually, I was never charged. After we filed our brief, it was so compelling. 88 pages that said that I wasn't guilty of anything.
Wow.
We told them about their virtually killing Dave Loney, my staffer, cursing at my lady. It was so compelling that the day after we filed it, we didn't hear another word until the statute of limitations had run out. We called them, and they said, "Oh, no, we're not interested in prosecuting anybody." Never mind. They said,
right.
"Never mind."
Well, this is, so how you must have had a lot of...
Times. It cost me 3 times for lawyers' fees than I earned on the damn case in the first place. Well, I won't say the amount, but 3 times what I had made in the case in the first place.
Unbelievable. So you must have had an incredibly hard time then, and sleepless nights, knowing that they wanted to come after you and throw you in jail for no crime at all. But folks, that's what the Biden people did.
I thought it was coming. Yes, indeed.
Oh, my gosh. What a story. Well, Bob, thank you for your service to our country. I want to make this point. We only have 30 seconds left. But if it were not for Bob Livingston, we would not have had the balanced budgets that we had under Bill Clinton. I salute you, Bob, for your fiscal conservatism. You were a patriot, and I'm so sorry for what you went through. But I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night thinking, oh, there's going to be people, FBI agents knocking on my door because my crime was working for Trump.
It's happened to far too many people, but thank God President Trump's coming in and changing the scenery. And Pam Bondi, do your job. Get rid of some of these people that abuse. Oh, and what I want to do is make sure that prosecutors do not have immunity. If they maliciously use their office for personal or political reasons, they ought to stand trial to themselves.
That's Bob Livingston, folks, a former member of Congress who was harassed by the Justice Department of the Biden administration. It's happened to far, far too many people, and we need to return to real justice in America, and Trump will bring that.